Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this episode of The Nerd is the Word. I am Josh,
I'm Jeff.
and we have a good show for you today. We got a guest.
We do have a
Our,
guest.
third or fourth time having a guest. One of our
Third,
favorite
yeah,
guests.
yeah. I think fourth time having a guest. Three of them, all same person.
But yeah, before we do that, how are you, my friend?
Uh, I'm doing all right. I just got back from vacation, so that was kind of fun. Uh, got to spend a week in Orlando. Uh, so we ate at like a Naruto ramen place. We did a little bit of exploring with like Universal. That was fun. Got to see some people that that I play video games with just because they were in the area as well. So that was cool. Uh,
Oh, that's always good.
yeah, like getting to see like some of the online friends in person. It's always fun. Uh,
Oh yeah,
and then just getting out of Georgia for a week. That was fun.
yeah. I bet it was. I'll go ahead and tell you how Georgia was for that week. Hot.
I mean, it was
It was.
hot there too.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. But no, yeah. I mean, same here. Not much, just me and Serena have been watching this documentary on horror movies in the 80s. It's pretty interesting. It's like combine those two parts like a 6 hour documentary.
Oh,
And
that
it's
that
just
reminds me. There was a place that I wish I would have taken some pictures of. It was a so there's one little place that we go in Orlando. It's called Old Town, and they have like a bunch of like little shops and stuff where you can buy stuff. We always go to like there's one that sells like different like rocks and stuff, like the geodes and like the fancy rocks, and like
yeah.
you can get like bags of dirt that have like rocks in them and go like pan for the rocks like outside of it. It's really fun. There's like an anime one that we always go to that they sell like little red. That's the one. Like I know I sent you the pictures of like the Dragon Balls, like the actual physical. Like it's that store that they had like bigger ones this year. But
That's cool.
there's a new shop there that it was a horror store, and it had like it was literally like themed for like the really campy like old horror movies. Like they were playing some. I had no idea what the name of the movie was because I'm not a fan of that stuff. You would have known immediately. But they had like different they had like some shirts and stuff for sale, but they had a bunch of different like masks, like legit like rubber like masks for like like werewolves and like different kinds of. And I you would have loved it. I was just like, oh, this is neat, and then
Oh yeah,
left.
that sounds cool as hell. That sounds cool as hell. No, we were watching that and it's going through like all the nightmares and the Halloweens and all that. But I mean, no, other than that, Loki and Black Widow. I mean,
Oh,
no,
that's right. I couldn't remember the name. I had to Google it. It's called Post Mortem Horror Boutique.
that sounds cool as hell.
So, because I remember seeing it, and I was like, "Oh, that's funny," because it's play on postmodern, but it's postmortem because it's like horror
That
stuff.
sounds that sounds awesome. But no, I mean, other than that, we've been watching that. I mean, I've been playing a little bit of Call of Duty, but you know,
Yeah, I know I'm, been playing Warzone a little bit here and there, but mainly it's been like MLB the Show for me for video games. So,
yeah. Every time I boot on, I look up, I see, I see one on the. I was like, all right, it's either you or RJ because I think I only have you and RJ on my PlayStation. I was looking, let me see. Yep, the show. All right, jump on some Warzone, jump on some multiplayer, but no,
yeah,
nothing.
we need to play some Modern Warfare soon because there's a couple of guns I got to level up in Modern Warfare. So,
I was telling Serena the other night. I was playing. She's watching. I was like, oh. I was like, it doesn't feel the same without hearing Jeff go, hey, catch, hey, hold this, and then go,
excuse me,
did I
hold this,
make
please.
that? That or hearing RJ just yelling at
Raging, yeah, RJ rages. Oh, it's so funny.
me. That was so funny. Those are some of my friends. You are a bitch. That is, I love it. But no, I mean, yeah,
And then
same old.
yeah, so like I know we've both seen, the we're gonna be doing some Loki review and some Black Widow
Mhm.
review. So I know we both watched that. But speaking of that, we have our it's time for the guest. So we have returning for the third time. So like at this, she's just like an honorary part of the show at this point.
Yeah, pretty
I
much.
would say she's just like our third co-host. That's all it is.
Yeah,
But we have the lovely, marvelous Rachel with us today.
Hi,
always.
thanks for having me again.
So
Always a
first things first, what have you been up to since the last time?
Watched Black Widow in theaters basically 3 times. IMAX, highly recommend if you haven't watched it in IMAX yet. Um, and then watched Loki, went to New York, ate some food, went by New York Comic Con, wondered where everyone was for badge pickup. I guess I'm 2 months early, but that's pretty much it.
Well, sounds eventful.
that sounds fun. Yeah. And
What do you have coming up? You have like is like are they doing Dragon Con this year or is
Oh
all
yeah, Dragon Con is happening. That's what my main like it's in 40 days. So I already like made a spreadsheet of like my lineup, everything I need to do for my lineup. I of course have like 3 Black Widow cosplays planned. Um, the white suit for Nat, and then Yelena's white suit, and then Yelena's like casual. This is like my Infinity War vest. I need to update it. So I have a new one coming in that I'll alter, but
Oh, that
yeah,
one doesn't
a
look like
lot.
it has enough pockets.
No, it doesn't. They're fake pockets. I'm gonna have one with real pockets coming in.
That
that
was
was
low key one of the best lines in the whole movie was
I love driving the car that I like. I know, right? That is new table and it still shakes. That is one of the funniest parts of that whole damn movie. That and David Harbour. He will always make my list. But yeah, that sounds exciting. That's
anything after Dragon Con? Are they doing like AWA or anything?
Yep. AWA is happening. New York Comic Con is actually happening, but they didn't do a great job this year with selling badges. So pretty much only scammers got tickets. So I only know like 2 people going
Ooh.
out of like the thousands that normally go. But Whole Mat is happening too. Holiday Matsuri, that's in Orlando. That's happening. I think that's it for 2021.
Oh,
And then Colossal Con.
I was just in Orlando. It was well, we
Highly
didn't
recommend Whole Mat.
we didn't go to the DBZ ramen this time. We went to the Naruto ramen place. It's called Naruto.
It's a cute name. I'll have to check that out. I've never heard of that one. Does it look like the ramen shop in the anime?
It kind
Doesn't
of
know.
like it looked so like I never watched Naruto. I wasn't the one that wanted to go, but I just went along for the food. But like it was set up like you would think like something with like a sushi bar, like a little like because it was
Mhm.
in like a little strip mall, so it wasn't like a big restaurant, but it was set up like it had like it used to be like a sushi bar type place because it had like a little bar seating, but they just used that as their like like where all the like the fountain drinks were, where they took orders, all that stuff. But it had like the swing set. They had like an actual swing set where you could do like photo ops with. They had a bunch of different like anime stuff on the walls. Because it wasn't even like just Naruto. Like they had like these. It was like these 3 like paintings on the wall, and it had like different anime characters. So there was like a Sailor Moon. One Punch Man was in there. Yugi Moto was in there. Gon from Hunter x Hunter was in there. Like it was just like a smattering of just different anime characters, where it looked like they were sitting at the ramen bar getting food,
Oh, that's cute.
that's cool.
and they were playing like lo-fi versions of anime openings. So I heard like a lo-fi version of the Pokemon theme song, and I was okay. I didn't know I needed that in my life, but I got it.
That's
You
cool.
want
I
to talk
need to check that out.
about Pokemon? See, everyone else is going. I went to New York, Orlando. I went to GameStop the other day.
Oh, that boy.
No, but you saying Pokemon? They had like a Funko of Pikachu, like gigantic. I was looking at it. I was like, I know about 4 people. I gotta send a picture. But yeah, that's the most exciting thing that happened to me. So
Oh, I did. Did you have you known about those pops that I sent you the pictures of? There was one store down there that it was like a candy store, and it they sold a Kool-Aid packet Funko Pop. There was a Kool-Aid Man Funko Pop, and like the slushy polar bear pop.
they did a whole line of like yeah, like Kool Aid, Twinkies, McDonald's, all that. I think they did Chester Cheetah, like I mean, I knew about that. They're cool. They're cool. I know someone who has like every time they did like a brand, like I think they did Captain Crunch and Tony the Tiger and all that. He grabbed them up instantly. I was like, y'all got any more of them Batman pops? I did find on Amazon today though. I was looking for. Serena got home. I was when Earth Day happened. They Box Lunch put out a Aang in the Spirit World that glow in the dark, and Earth Day. Yeah, glow in the dark. Whatever. I'm tired. Okay, it's been a long day.
Hey, I like glow in the dark stuff. Don't hate.
But it looks so beautiful. At like 6 a.m. Earth Day, I was like, all right, I'm gonna order it. Sold out.
Oh.
So I've been looking for like 3 weeks, and I finally found it on Amazon. I was like, all right, I'm ordering this shit today. With the rest of my Avatar stuff. So other than that, I mean,
did you get it?
No, I didn't. I haven't ordered it yet. I got Spidey though. And
oh yeah, where's he going on the wall?
I need to put more shelves up because it's filled up, and now I just have some sideways that I'm just putting in for storage until I can build more shelves. But I did get Sam as Cap, so with the wings flying and all that.
Ooh,
so
that's a good one.
Yeah, Walmart put it out. I was like, oh, just take that. Right. I have a sloth around here somewhere. Sloth eating the ice cream. But I need to start my Goonies collection. But yeah, no, that's the most exciting thing with me is pops.
Well, since while we're here, what did everybody think of the last episode of Loki?
I loved it.
I screamed and cried. But I liked it more the more I've talked to people about it, honestly, because I was like, this is the most boring finale I've ever watched. But it's completely set up for the madness for the multiverse stuff. So understandable. But that kiss, I was like, yes! And then I screamed, no!
Oh, I cried.
So
I cried. I cried like a little girl. But I mean, it was really boring for a season finale. But I think I liked it more than I liked the Falcon the Winter Soldier finale. Because Falcon the Winter Soldier, I mean, great show. I loved it. I'll watch it 1,000 more times. But it didn't really feel like it was leading towards anything for the future. I mean, yes, Sam being Cap and all that. I loved that. But it kind of felt like a Thor 2 or something, where it was more of a, okay, here's what these guys are doing after you saw the heartbreak that was WandaVision and before you see the total heartbreak that's Loki. But I mean, I loved it. Even the 2 minutes of action where Loki fought himself, essentially, I loved it. I loved Sylvie. I loved all of it. I mean, that show, I'm gonna watch it 100 more times. And
yeah, I was surprised that just having 3 people in a room was it. It didn't feel to me like it took as long as it did. I was just into it the whole time. Mainly because as soon as I saw Jonathan Majors, I was like, oh, we were right. And
yeah,
then,
I sat there. Serena sat next to me. I looked. I was like, oh, I have a feeling. I feel it in my gut. I know who it is. She's kind of looking. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. Because if I'm wrong, I'm just going to shut up and be like, yeah, I know who it was. But if I'm right, you're not going to hear me shut the hell up about it. And then the elevator door, I was like, yep. But I'm not mad.
Especially after he had essentially told people that Kang wasn't going to be in there. And then he was like, well, I told the truth. Kang wasn't in it.
That is true. But still, I wish I would have got a little warning, but
I did think it was funny that we technically did get a warning because he was the one that voiced the 3 times, the robot timekeepers. That was all him modulated differently. And going back and listening to it, I was like, yeah, how did I not know?
Yeah. Now that you say that.
They just didn't credit him and just to keep the surprise, but he had already appeared in the. But yeah, I thought for like 3 people in a room, it was a better episode to me than the 2 people in a room first episode that they had between Owen Wilson and
Yeah.
Owen Wilson's character in Loki, because like that one, it did a lot to like introduce the story of what's going on, catching Loki up on all the things that have happened since he like yoinked out of there with the Tesseract, just kind of catching him back up to what we all know, just to kind of like give him a reason as to like why he wants to do it. But
Yeah. Kind
I
of.
felt that the last episode was like even more poignant, like just hearing Immortus, who essentially it's Immortus. They kind of merged the He Who Remains character and Immortus together, which I'm okay with, because it gives you an intro for Kang without having to just like make up some wild shit. But
How you
I
feel
thought it
about
was
that?
very poignant to hear how he talked about the whole the multiversal war. So they were technically telling the truth. It was just a war between like all the different Kangs, and you had like all the technology that you got to see, and you could see where all the stuff that the TVA used was like based on stuff that like Kang himself had created. I thought that was cool. And he just did such a good job of like acting the scene, and just like
He is a
it
very talented
was
actor. I didn't watch all of Lovecraft Country, but the little bit he is he's funny in a sense. That actor, I can never remember his name. What was it?
Jonathan
Um,
Majors.
yes, he's funny where you can tell he doesn't exactly try to be, but it's he just can. What's the word? He can play a room so well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, even where he was just sitting there eating an apple, and you're like, I've known one person to be able to eat an apple and play off of it at the same time, and that was Captain Kirk in that crappy Star Trek movie. But I don't know why it felt like the blueberries thing with Robert Downey Jr. You know what I'm talking about?
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't, but
Blueberry, and you're just like, oh, I feel like I'm rambling. To me personally, if someone eats in a scene, it's very distracting because just the and all that, I can't do it. But he was able to play that off. He was able to play off the whole, kind of being funny but not trying to be funny, if you know what I'm talking about.
he had great comedic
Awkward?
timing.
Exactly. Look, it's been a long day. But yeah, he was funny, but also you felt like you didn't know what was going to happen with everything he said. He was able to play it off like he felt it felt like he was going to any second he'd go from the funny guy to the okay, you're dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just the way he can project his voice, and he was telling the story, and when they said they're over the threshold, and he's kind of looking around, and you're like, oh, he's about to do something.
You know what happened was for that, right? That was when Wanda became the Scarlet Witch. Was the threshold.
I saw that, and that is just look. That's one way that Marvel will always get my money. They're doing beautiful shit like that. They're doing the Lord's work, and that's it. One hell of a season finale. But also the whole ending where I didn't expect the whole "Who are you? What are you doing here?" with Mobius.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
that was whenever she sent him back. It was already
Yeah,
it had already been changed.
and that will
I
always.
thought she sent him to a different timeline, like a different branch.
That's what I was thinking too.
So the way that I understood it was that basically as soon as they hit that threshold and she like stabbed Immortus, it set the chain reaction off where the way that they made it seem in the show was that time isn't like linear, it's a giant circle. So everything that happens is going to happen and happen again and happen again. So basically you get to this point and you start back over, but at this point it was like Kang had already taken over. And so now you're just kind of catching up to where where he wants you to see him at. And so like cuz you can see the TVA where it wasn't the 3 timekeepers, it was just Kang in his like very comic accurate costume, which I was happy about.
I saw it and I was like, okay, yeah, you did it, and I'm happy.
And because he had taken over, he didn't need to hunt down the Lokis anymore. So they really didn't care who a Loki was.
Yeah, that is true. Oh, damn good show. Damn good show.
So what was everybody's favorite scene in the season finale?
I mean, mine was the kiss. I mean, I feel like everyone knows that already.
that
No
was
kiss.
that was powerful. What I love that because once again it worked with the scene, but what I hated was but I'm not a Loki. I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. I've liked you. I like you. Why are you making me not like you? You made my baby boy cry. My sweet baby boy. But
His face.
I just watching him back at the TVA, just sitting there, and you can tell that he stopped crying, but you can still see. I was like, I'm not crying. You're crying.
Because he'll know he'll always be alone.
Yes, I hated that. But
he was even alone in being the Loki that could change. I thought that was.
Oh, I never thought of it that way.
Exactly. See, Marvel just knows how to make me cry. But no, my favorite part, it's got to be Immortus talking about everything that happened. Just him. And once again, it's just him as an actor being able to just captivate you. He's such a good storyteller that's my favorite. When he just talking about everything, the little nice hat, thanks, nice shoes. That was just clever. That was clever as hell.
I love the jump scare with Miss Minutes. I thought that was quite funny.
Oh, when she got scary?
Well, it was just like they're walking along, and hey there! I was like, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, that scared the hell out of me. But can we acknowledge the fact that Miss Minutes voiced by Harley Quinn?
Also, I think she's Timmy Turner.
Yeah, I was gonna say Timmy Turner's the one that I'm gonna go with, but
I mean, yeah, but Harley Quinn. I mean, okay, I guess I'm the only one if I was. But no, I sat there and I was just like, yeah, that clock could be a dead clock. I have a sword like that, and hi there. Oh shit.
Leave it to Loki to have a better jump scare than half the horror movies that come out now.
No shit.
Like, that's sad.
But I did like it. I loved it. Miss Minutes was probably one of my favorite characters.
I love her.
So what was
another thing?
Oh, go ahead.
There was like one thing that I had noticed that I read, like what is every Loki variant like Nexus event, and I had read that someone said that Sylvie's was that when she was playing like the toys and that was when she decided she'd be a Valkyrie, so she was gonna be a heroine, so that's why she got taken out. I was like, that's so sad because she was gonna be a good person, and that's why they took her out.
Oh, that's actually a good one. I never thought of that.
I didn't think about that, but now that I'm thinking, yeah, wow.
So what was everybody's favorite Easter egg from the show? Because there were a lot of Easter eggs that they put in for everything.
I don't think I can narrow it down to just one. I will say I love the Thanos copter. That was just so funny. What was it? Throg? Not Throg.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Thor frog.
And the little tiny, and he was in the glass trying to get Mjolnir. And it was actually Chris Hemsworth's voice.
Yeah.
Oh, is it actually?
They just like modulated it to sound like a frog.
I love that. Yeah. That has to be my favorite Easter egg, those two.
There's so many, I can't think of one either, but I did like the Thanos copter from the comics that they had copied. I also love Crocodile Loki like everyone else, but I don't even know if that's canon.
Well, it is now. I was about to say, that's just Florida Loki. That's all that is.
Florida Loki.
I think mine was I enjoyed the Sphinx that they had, just because like the Nexus event for it was it didn't lose its nose. Because like it didn't get rotted over time and just like fall off. I thought that was funny.
That was pretty clever. I mean, that show, it was just littered with Easter eggs. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it just to like kind
Yeah.
of pick out every single one. But I will say one of my favorite things of all time will always be Richard Grant as Loki.
Yeah, that him as
This is
classic
awesome.
Loki was a really good character.
I loved it. It was one of those that you didn't really have to do it, but I'm glad you did.
And did it well.
Yes, and did it
I've
well.
seen theories where he's gonna come back.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so, because I saw it and I was just like, oh, yes. And Richard Grant, which means Marvel got Richard Grant money.
Marvel has all kinds of money. Marvel has mouse money. Do you know how much mouse money is worth?
Also, sports money, news money.
It's just a blank check. It's just a blank
they
check.
don't even sign it anymore. They just put the Mickey Mouse logo and the signature, and just that counts.
They look and they're just like, oh, so you want everything? Okay.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
You're gonna spare no expense? Okay, John Hammond. But no, I loved it.
So going forward, I guess that that kind of sets up, what we see, the actual multiverse that is the multiverse of madness. So which one? Spider-Man's the one that comes out first, right? In terms of like Spider-Man, and because we have Shang-Chi and Spider-Man, then it's, I guess, the Eternals comes out before that, and then Spider-Man, and then the multiverse of madness.
I think so.
So I think it's cool that this is the way that we're hopefully going to get the live action Into the Spider-Verse, but also Sinister Six included.
I hope so. I mean, I don't know. All I know about the new Spider-Man movie is that they released the pops and they look so good. They look so good. I've been following that. I mean, it is that I did like the way that they're introducing the multiverse, where it's not like and you know me, I'm a DC kid. I love DC to death, but also they're not DCing it where it's like, oh, sorry, we have a multiverse, by the way, and we're not going to tell you until 4 movies later. It's they're setting it up slowly where you can see things branching out. Like, oh, you're hinting at something. So are you. So I know what it is. And look, like I've said 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more. Marvel's doing the Lord's work.
Yeah.
This next Spider-Man movie is going to be great. At first, I was a little kind of ticked that Kang was the villain because it kind of felt on the nose. But the more I think about it,
it just makes too much sense.
Well, yeah, you had Iron Man, Captain America, Iron Man 2, and Thor. And then you had the Avengers, where they basically teased Thanos.
Yeah.
So now you have Far From Home, WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Loki, and Black Widow, and it's been teased. So Marvel's kind of falling through you can kind of see where they're going with it. And they didn't Galactus it from Fantastic Four 2.
We don't talk about that, okay? We just do not talk about that cloud.
Cloud. They're doing Kang, and from what it looks like so far, they're doing it right. They're not really doing a whole. Well, he's been out here for 1,000 years. It's you're gonna know the history of Kang, because a lot of people know Thanos. Kang is one of those. You're hitting the deep Marvel dudes. Who they're Kang. I think people have been talking about Kang for a while, waiting for him to come out. Marvel listens.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's the one that I heard the most when it was like, who do you want as the next big bad after Thanos? Yeah. I think he was the one that I heard the name the most. It was either like him, or you had like Silver Surfer / Galactus. And I was I mean, really, that's
Galactus
like
Galactus and Kang. Yeah.
I heard more. I heard a lot of Kang, a lot of Galactus. I heard someone saying MODOK. But
Doctor Doom as well. But like that one was one that it was like until they got the rights to use him, it was like you just can't. But now that they have the rights, like I feel like it kind of changed their plans.
And Doctor Doom is one of those. Really, if you introduce him without and not be able to do the Fantastic Four, or you don't do the Fantastic Four, it's kind of you have a lot of people who won't really follow it because
Yeah.
you have a lot of people who associate Doctor Doom with Fantastic Four,
Yeah.
and Kang isn't one of those you associate with a certain character other than the Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, look, Marvel's got my money. Marvel already knows they have my money. They don't even question it. They just go ahead and set me out a little plate, and they give me the bill.
Yeah, I'm excited for like the future, especially with like Kang as like our big bet. So like I don't know how long we'll have him,
Yeah.
just because I mean technically he can pop up anywhere, but
Oh,
I
so you
don't.
don't know about him being casted in some of the movies?
Well, so I know that he's cast for Quantumania. That was
Yeah.
the when they officially cast him as Kang.
Yeah, that was
But
supposed to be his introduction.
so like I don't know if he'll be here after Quantumania. I don't know if he's going to be in it for Multiverse of Madness. I don't know if he's going to make an appearance in like the Spider-Man movie. I would highly doubt Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I don't
I
see
would,
it.
or I mean, maybe the Eternals. The Eternals, they could definitely.
I feel like with Kang, what they should do the same thing they did with Thanos, to where you saw him 2 seconds here, you saw him a little bit in Guardians, but he was like kind of the looming threat.
Mm-hmm.
But they should do the same thing with Kang. You see him; he's making his plans. He's doing this. He's doing that. I don't.
But there's also other variants too. So
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think he's gonna be in all of the movies, whether like 5 seconds or 10 seconds. I think he's gonna have a part, or at least one of the variants will in every single one.
Oh, so
And I
instead
think
of like a
multiverse will be all of them together.
so instead of like a Stan Lee cameo, we get a Kang cameo that we got to look out for in every movie.
At least it won't be like a Vision cameo.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But no, well, I think they're already naming this the Multiverse Saga. I think that's what the official, because I remember like the first
It was the
20
Infinity Saga, yeah, like the first like 22.
first 22. I think now it's going to be the Multiverse Saga. Look, Kevin Feige, man, this dude's smart. This dude has some brains.
Yeah, they like.
I want to see his whiteboard.
Oh, I would pay good money to see his whiteboards. Just like, that meme of Always Sunny?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
The good old Charlie Day.
You don't know that Galactus is out there, but he is. It's kind of like I think there was a video of Parks and Rec, and it had Patton Oswalt,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Dude, we need you to fill 5 minutes." And he's just spitting out this like idea for an Avengers movie, and he's like, and then they go into space, but Galactus is there, but he gets taken out by Han Solo, and he's just spitting all this stuff. I was like, I love you, Patton Oswalt.
Yeah, I've seen the Star Wars filibuster. That was a very funny scene.
That is so. I have a feeling that's what Kevin Feige is doing. He's sleeping. He just goes, shakes his wife. He's like, "Hear me out. What about White Tiger?" And she's sitting there like, "I don't give a shit, Kevin. I was having a good dream." That's just how I do things, though. Like, if I have an idea, I'll shake her and be like, "Look, hear me out." And she's like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is he talking about?" But I mean, they leaked pictures of Zack Snyder's whiteboard before Justice League came out,
Mm-hmm.
and that was, you couldn't exactly read anything because he's leaking it to show you the emblems and that's it.
Yeah.
But you saw like the Martian Manhunter emblem and like Green Lantern and all that. I mean, and that was for 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Feige, he's at like what, 30 things so far.
There's no telling what they're already making that we don't even know about exists.
I mean, yeah.
Because I mean, I've shown you how. So like my friend Riley, that he works on because he worked on Black Panther, so he legitimately said that the NDA was this.
Oh yeah.
That's right.
No, with
so there's no telling, what they're like. Literally have already started working on, whether it be in Atlanta. Because like I know that so Kevin and Mark had that guy that does that he works for Marvel, and he was telling them that when they come up with all these things, that 3 years before it ever comes out is when they start working on like ideas for costumes, characters, start talking about who they would want to get before they even have like a movie title, a movie script, like they're already starting to.
And you can really tell that because these Marvel movies, they are so in depth, and they'll make a joke in Avengers, and they'll make it again in Black Widow, and you'll be like, they're doing the thing. Or they'll like I was noticing the other night, I watched Avengers, and Loki mentions what's his face's daughter.
Hawkeye?
Talking about what was his name? The dude from I can't remember. What's his face from Black Widow, Red Room guy. Had Taskmaster as his daughter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Something with a, what is it?
They mentioned because I went back and I subtitled that shit, and I was reading it. It was talking about someone's daughter in an explosion. I was like, hey, they did the thing. But yeah, like you said, I mean, 3 years. These movies are so in depth, and it shows. I mean, and I've said it 1,000 times. I'm a DC guy all day long. I can go ahead and tell you that the MCU, it feels more planned than the DCEU.
Well, okay, so it's funny you say that because we started talking about Black Widow.
Yeah.
I feel like Black Widow it feels out of place. Especially coming out now.
Too late.
Yeah. So especially coming out now, but even if it had come out last year, I still feel like it would have felt out of place because you essentially took any sort of like stakes out of the movie by having it after Endgame.
Exactly. I mean, look, I'll go ahead and say this I loved Black Widow. It was a very good watch. I've watched it twice since. Okay, well, we didn't watch it in theaters. We got it on Disney Plus because my roommate bought it, and hey, if it's for free, we'll watch it for free. But no, it was a very good movie. But yes, it did feel late. If it would have released after Civil War,
I didn't even need it after Civil War. I would have taken it after Infinity War.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Like if you put it in between Infinity War and Endgame, kind of, because that was the same time frame that we got Ant-Man and the Wasp. I feel like that told a story that happened after Infinity War, but it told a story that was before Infinity War, just so that way they could show you that like in credit scene and you know what's going on.
Yeah.
But even if you did something like that with Black Widow, like you still could have put it in that time frame. You wouldn't have had the same in credit scene because I don't think they would have had the.
I think they would have saved that for something else. And I mean,
yeah,
it felt like it was just released too late. Which I mean, it didn't impact the movie for me. It did kind of feel like nothing's gonna happen to her. She has to fall, getting the Soul Stone. So you take, like you said, you take that like threat out of there, where it's kind of like, okay, let's acknowledge the Black Widow story. I mean, I liked it, but yeah, I mean, it did kind of feel like
I still like after Civil War would have been the best time, but like even after Infinity War, before she sacrifices herself in Endgame, like it still would have felt more appropriate there.
Yeah, because
like that whole story, and like you think, oh, okay, well maybe after this whole thing's over, like we can explore more of this, and then she sacrifices herself, and now you're like, wait a minute, all this like stuff that we just worked out, now it's
yes,
but instead we get it now, and it's like, well, we kind of already knew,
we kind of already knew
already. Like we don't, like why do we care?
But I mean, but no, that movie was it was good. I feel like it really was worth the wait. Because look, David Harbour can be I didn't like David Harbour as Hellboy. That's the one role I don't like David Harbour in. but Red Guardian was without a doubt one of the best parts of that movie.
Oh, not to mention that, but all of the stuff that they snuck in on his like tattoos. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
that was
his tattoo said like Natasha and Yelena on it, and I was
yeah,
like,
like he had like the kids' names, he had what there was something else that he had like tattooed on there that I can't remember right now. That was like a big Easter egg, and it was like something that you wouldn't catch unless you watched it like a couple of times, like stop it, zoom
ooh, I
in.
didn't find that.
I did think one of the funniest parts was when he thinks he's talking, and he's like, Natasha, and they're like, what are you doing? You don't
We
have
only had two. You didn't get one.
what? He tries to do it again. What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it. Do you have something you want to say? I just messed it up. David Harbour. He was my favorite part of that movie. He really was.
My only issue with the movie, which is probably like why time doesn't matter to me too much, it was more of a Yelena origin story versus a Natasha Budapest story. Like, we're all like, are we finally gonna know what happened? Like, sure, she like blew up the girl, but I wanted to know about the arrow holes in the apartment. I wanted to see like what happened with Clint. Like, I wanted to see all of that and how she got up to that moment, not just like, bam, that was the moment.
I mean, and I did like the little mentioning of it, and yeah, we sat up here for like 2 days or something like that, and the etchings in the ventilation duct and all that. But they kind of they when they're doing the press for the movie, they kind of made it out like they were going to do a lot more with Budapest, and it was kind
Yeah.
of like here you go, we're going to answer one question.
Okay, I have five more now. No, but we answered the question. But I have five more.
Yeah, but no, you don't, because we answered the question. Mickey's putting on his brass knuckles. We answered the question. But no, I will say the one thing that irked me about the movie, and it was just Taskmaster. Taskmaster is one of those characters that I've been waiting on for years. And I get what they did, and it works for the movie, don't get me wrong. But I was really sitting there like, are we going to get the real Taskmaster? Because, I mean...
It was too easy.
Yeah. Ex-SHIELD agent, that was more of a compelling story for me. But I understand, it worked.
Yeah, the one thing about this movie that I think really impacted it the most was that they tried to make it one like cohesive movie, where if you took it out of the MCU, it makes no difference. Like it has no the only implications it has is like Yelena, like that's it.
Yeah.
Like you don't even get to see like a scene where they might have made like her like fake mother, like where she kind of took over the Red Room, because that could have been like a cool twist that they did, where she was only doing it just to take down the dude, just so she could pick up the mantle. They like Taskmaster was somebody that like you could have easily seen coming from like a mile away if you just watched the movie. So it was nobody that you were like thinking, oh, it could be this person, and then it was just like, oh, it's the little girl. Okay, yeah.
You were at the reveal. You're like, it's the okay. I mean, it does give a villain that is central to her.
Yeah,
it's not like something that Tony did 8 years ago, where it's like, oh my god, Tony is like, okay, yeah, this character is central to Natasha,
it felt like just like a movie that you could have like put on its own, and it makes no difference. And I feel like that hurts in this instance, because so much of what Marvel does is they make each movie a part of something else, it really didn't.
Each movie bigger than itself.
Yeah, and so they really kind of undercut like the character by just making a movie that like they named it after one person, when the story was really like somebody else's origin story, and so they like screwed her whole character. And then they made the movie not really mean anything other than just like, oh, what happened for like a couple months, like right after Civil War happened.
And what I did notice too was Marvel gave us something we haven't seen in a while, and that's opening credits.
Yeah.
in the main movie of the, like, I mean, yeah, you got it in, I think, Iron Man 1.
Hmm.
Like, I think the first handful of Marvel movies, you had opening credits instead of.
Yeah, it was like very phase one-ish.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like. It was like, oh, is that? Am I seeing names on a screen in the movie? Is this legal? Are we allowed to do this anymore? Because that in Star Wars, for the longest time, you're not getting opening credits. You're getting end
I
credits.
love that song though, and like the whole scene. I cried. It's so
That
good.
whole that
Yeah,
beginning.
honestly, like that opening scene was like the best part of the movie, and it felt so sad that you take the part where you really shouldn't care about because it's just kind of like the introduction, and
Yeah,
like that's the most compelling part of the movie.
it was. Yeah, I side with you. But what I will say about the movie is this. Like I said earlier, great movie. It works as a good spy thriller.
Yeah,
It works as like a 007 or a Bourne or a, those are really the only two spy movies I know of. 007 and Bourne.
the other 007 or the other 007.
Or the other, how many we got? No, it works
Well,
like one
hell,
of
we
those.
got
Tom
Idris Elba coming up too, so
That's true.
another 007.
But I mean, it worked like a Tom Clancy, or like a Splinter Cell or something like that,
Yeah.
where it was you could enjoy if you're not a fan of Marvel movies, if you don't like the whole superhero thing, you can watch it, and it doesn't feel like a superhero movie. It feels like a spy movie.
Yeah.
You have the secrets, you have the double crossing, the backstories, all that. Where it's like I know a handful of people who they love movies like that, but they're not a big superhero guy. Which, hey, to each his own. Like what you like. I will say one thing: Scorsese would have loved this movie.
Oh God.
Did I just make that joke? Yes. Am I ashamed? Like 15%. Got 15% shame.
That really is a good way to look at it, as like a spy thriller.
Yeah, I mean it's
And again, like I think it just plays into the fact that like it kind of takes away from what these movies are, where they're supposed to be
yeah,
something bigger than themselves.
yeah.
So it's
And
supposed to be like a Bourne Identity where it leads to the Bourne trilogy as opposed to
yeah.
just
And
the
this
Bourne
kind of just
Identity.
leads to the Black Widow movie. Hope you liked it.
Yeah, like it because it
I
didn't
mean,
lead to anything. Like it didn't like the only thing that could possibly have led to something was that end credit scene where it looks like they're putting together the Thunderbolts.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like that's it. Like that's all you get. Like you get a 5-minute scene and that's it.
yeah. And I mean, look, I take Marvel blind faith because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't give a damn about the first Thor movie, and now it's one of my favorite movies. So they could easily take this and do whatever they want to. Marvel, I feel, has a plan for everything. But I mean, it felt a lot like, and I know you haven't watched it. I'm not sure if you've watched it, the Punisher show, where it's based on a Marvel character, but it doesn't feel like a superhero thing. And I miss the superhero aspect. I mean, the Quinjet was cool.
Yeah.
I was really the only like superhero-y thing other than like Red Guardian.
I actually kind of disagree. I feel like it was two superhero versus spy because Black Widow is like one of the only like human ones, right, in the Avengers
Yeah.
group, and they had her doing way more action fighting scenes in this than she usually does, like hand to hand combat. Like her going hand to hand against Taskmaster shouldn't be that easy. Like she
Yeah.
didn't use a lot of her like spy gadgets like she typically does in the comics and even like the Avengers games. That Taskmaster is like was more villainous than this Taskmaster.
Yeah,
I wanted to see more of that.
Yeah, I would love to see that Taskmaster. Him being quippy and just saying smart shit. Oh,
So like the only good thing about the Taskmaster is that they kind of set it up where it's like the suit, not the person.
yeah, it's like a mantle.
So
Mhm.
you could easily like that she basically turned everything over to like Ross is probably going after, doesn't really care about the Red Room girls. He
Can we,
probably only cares about Taskmaster.
can we talk about William Hurt looking mighty skinny? Has anyone checked up on him?
Well, I mean, it looked like they just like de-aged him, so they probably body doubled him too.
I
Like all he
really
did
hope
was
that's
probably
it
voice
because
lines.
William Hurt is a great actor, and if he wasn't looking that healthy, like
I didn't notice anything.
It just looked like he looked like he was de-aged, and that they
I'm hoping that's what it was
and that they
because
had like a
that
body double, because it didn't look like it was him that was actually out there acting.
that was one thing that did kind of stand out to me. I mean, like, and it wasn't anything that will impede the movie for me, but it's something that every time I do watch it, I will kind of look at it. Was he did look mighty sickly, and I'm hoping that was just a body double because William Hurt's a great actor. And if I picked up on something that no one else did, I think I need to like call someone, go to his house, check up on him, please.
Tweet at him. Are you okay?
Yeah, yeah. Go in there, just pet his head, pet his mustache. Come on. But no, I will say one of the funniest parts of that movie, other than the Vesta, I know, was the why do you do that superhero landing thing?
Yes. Such a poser.
I love that.
And
I
then when
honestly,
she tried it, and she was like, "Oh."
yeah, the best part was when she did it, and she was like, "Oh, why?" Just
I love
disgust for doing it.
Oh, that movie, so funny. So for Rachel Weisz, one of my favorite movies that she's been in, other than The Mummy. But to be fair, I really only know her from The Mummy.
So
no.
I guess that's a good little segue. What was everybody's favorite part of the movie?
My favorite part,
Outside of the pockets and the superhero landing, because that's going to be the go-to answers.
I gotta think about this. You go.
Oh, mine was the scene where they're at like the dinner table and Yelena is like, "Don't say that. It was real to me. You are my mother." I was like, ugh. Probably like one of the most emotional scenes in like a movie. Like the acting from just like everyone was like so good. So that was my favorite scene in the movie. Everyone's just like
That
I
was
was a big fan of the arm wrestling scene from the prison. So like he was talking about like all the fights he had with like Captain America,
America.
and like the guy was like, Captain America was in the ice. It's like, you could not have fought him. I was like, and then he was like, all right, break that guy's hand.
Yeah, just
a liar.
And one of those, there was an Easter egg. One of the guys that he did the arm wrestling with was like Ursa Major, like one of the other like Russian like comic book people.
Oh.
Because like you could see like the dude's like tattoo like had that written on him in Russian, and like he called him by like the name of the guy from the comic books.
Every little thing, Marvel doesn't miss it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they sneak those things in very well, for sure. Like that's a given that something like that's going to happen.
Yeah, that is one of those things I've noticed that they do is. Well, let me say my favorite part, and then I'll transfer over to that. I will say Red Guardian's breakout because it was funny, but it was also like kind of nail biting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're like, wow, you look a little hefty there, David Harbour. You can get out of this. But I mean, he's going to, but it's still the funny part of just watching his girls. But no, you're talking about the every little thing. I was watching Winter Soldier the other day, and they make a Doctor Strange reference when they have old boy on the roof. Who's the threats? They have Shield has threats on this, and they mention Stephen.
He had. Yeah, that one was. I always wondered if that was like a happy accident. Because like they said it before his car accident, which is the car accident and him going to like Carmitage is what makes him the threat. But like you wouldn't know that because it hasn't happened yet. And that always made me laugh.
Well, it's like, did you ever see the original end credit scene for Iron Man?
What happened in it? I don't remember.
So it's essentially the same scene, but he mentions Spider-Man and the X-Men. but they didn't have the rights to use it, so they couldn't use that scene. Like, it's still Samuel L. Jackson. He's still sitting there at the piano. It's just he mentions like something like there's a guy that like shoots webs, and like he says like I think he says the word mutants.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But what I will say, I noticed. I was watching Age of Ultron the other day while we were over at my dad's waiting, which he didn't even come home for that. But that's a whole other story for another day. But I was watching Age of Ultron. Did you ever? And it's not anything to do with Black Widow. It is just one of those little things one of those you pick up on little things when you watch them further out. Did you ever notice what Hawkeye named his kid?
I remember it was like people that saved him. Nathan for Natasha, right?
Yeah.
Nathaniel Pietro.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I was like, I was like, yo, he named his kid. It's Quicksilver. And no one, they just looked at me. I was like, okay, first of all, okay, all of you need to acknowledge the fact that happened. Okay, look at it. Look at it.
You didn't see that coming?
Not about enough of you, okay? Every single time we do an episode of this, you say something that I'm just like, why I work myself into that, or you give an idea or something. But no, yeah, that was my 2 cents on that. But no, I mean, yeah, they set up for the Hawkeye show with the end credit scene, which I loved.
Yeah, I mean, that's really and truly the only thing that we know about it, right? Is that it's gonna have her in it. I would assume in like a villain role, and then it's gonna be like him training Kate Bishop. That's all that I know.
They've announced a little bit these past couple of days, and it's all rumor, but it's one of those things where it's like, is it a rumor?
When is that even coming out?
I think it's fall.
Yeah,
like November or something, somewhere around the fall. I haven't checked the actual release date.
That was October, but it could be.
Yeah, somewhere in that area, they said it was going to drop. I think they said, I believe it was before 2021's done. So.
Because I think it's supposed to be before Eternals.
Yeah,
December, I think.
Yeah, it says late 2021. So just going off of the cast that we know, we have Jeremy Renner as Clint Barton, Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop's mother is in there. We knew that Florence Pugh was going to be in there as Yelena. Basically, this was just showing us how, like, because she had already been announced for that cast. This is just telling you, like, how she's, or like why she's in it.
Yeah. I think little things have been coming out these past couple of days about Hawkeye, and the rumor is Vincent D'Onofrio, or how I want to say it's D'Onofrio, is coming in to reprise his role as Kingpin, because I think they said Charlie Cox was coming back as Daredevil for Spider-Man. So that's one of the things I do know, or that has been whispering through the Twitter sphere.
See, if it were me, I would still make Daredevil come in the She-Hulk series, just because they're both lawyers. They're both that would be a great way to do it.
I wonder what they're going to do with Daredevil. I'm sorry, I totally just cut you off. What did you say?
Oh, I was just saying that would just be a great way to do it, because it's like they're both there. Like, why would you waste that opportunity?
Yeah. I think that after the events of Far From Home, I feel like if they're doing a Spidey on trial thing, I think that's kind of how they're gonna, like shovel.
That could be
as his attorney, because they've made little jokes through a lot of the Spider-Man stuff that Matt Murdock is usually Spidey's attorney. Like they even mention it in the video game, where like you had a Nelson and Murdock
like
business
card. Yeah.
And Spidey's like, he was blind. How did he know who I was? And it's like okay, guys, see what you did there. A little poke in there.
Okay, so apparently they filmed part of the series in Atlanta. You weren't in it and not telling us, right? Like they didn't have.
Who, me?
Yeah. Did you have to sign an NDA?
I feel like she did.
Why would I couldn't answer that even if I did, right?
You know, when we mentioned NDAs earlier, she didn't seem shocked.
Yeah, I'm definitely not shocked because even to be in like Disney Plus for like one video clip, I had to like sign my rights away basically. Like that they could use my face for anything that I want, anything possible. They didn't have to get permission. They could put it on merchandise, blah 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 blah. Like what I was agreeing to for like the one clip of me at New York Comic Con was ridiculous. So I can't imagine actually being in a movie. So yeah, that's.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure their NDAs are a lot of covering their ass and you know,
basically
you're going to do this.
If you tell, we're going to sue you until you have no money, throw you in jail, and you'll never be heard from again.
Is that why Tom Holland?
I think it's
a
little
bit.
Tom Holland gets in trouble, but they can't throw away Spider-Man.
I mean, they can. They're just smart enough not to.
Fair, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, one thing I will say about Black Widow was Florence. What is her last name?
Pugh.
Yeah, like a church pew.
This redeemed her for me because I watched a movie she was in. I think it was 2018 called Midsummer. It was supposed to be a horror movie.
Midsummer's so good.
I mean, were you sober watching it?
It's very indie film.
It is very indie. I did love the movie. And it wasn't that she was bad in that movie. It just felt like a lot with her. You know what I mean? And it didn't ruin the movie for me. But also, it was like, give her another chance to be in something else. Which, look, I mean, hey, she was great in this movie. She's going to be great in Hawkeye. She's got my money. If she came knocking on my door and said, give me your paycheck, I'd be like, can I have Hawkeye? Hey, are you have a phone? Let me see them pictures. I don't want to hear it. Okay, you got a Hawkeye pictures. But I mean, she was very, very good in this movie, and I've really only seen her in one other thing, which was Midsummer. So obviously, she's Marvel material. Keep that shit going.
She's in Little Women as well. But yeah, this is my favorite role that she's in. She's so funny in person. Based on the Instagram videos I see her post of like when she was cooking during COVID. She's so funny. She's basically Elena in real life.
Oh, it was role practice. Okay. I get it.
But yeah, if I had to rate this movie, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. I mean, I'm going to take away the 0.5 just for the little things that me as a viewer is like, okay, I could have done with that, but I wouldn't give it below a 9.5 or a 9. It was great. I love it.
Judging it based off of like just if we look at just the movie, I would give the movie itself a 9. But like if I'm judging it based on what it's supposed to be as like a part of, it was like a 7.5.
Yeah,
it just didn't do enough like for the collective, but like as a standalone movie, it wasn't a terrible movie. It was it was like you said, it was a really good spy flick. There was enough action. If you don't care about the MCU, you didn't know that she died, there's like actual stakes in the movie. I thought that the ending was kind of a little rushed, but I mean, like it could have been, but it was overall, it wasn't bad. It was just, there were bigger expectations for the movie that I just don't think that it hit just because of kind of when it released. And they handicapped themselves before it ever got filmed.
Yeah. I see what you mean. That and will always be a stake for me in these movies. And I know they can't do anything about it. I know, but I'll still always miss the Stan Lee cameos.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that through
Stan Lee, next Taskmaster.
hey, you say that, I would love it, okay?
Taskmaster's helmet has a metal mustache. Every time he
Excelsior.
I mean, it was one of those things that, like, I was watching Mallrats the other day because it's on Amazon. And Stan Lee's cameo in that, now that, he's gone, it hits so much harder. Every one of his cameos was like, look, it's Stan, it's the old man. And I mean, I missed him, and I've missed him through everything. It's just one of those things that the Marvel movies, they'll always be amazing, they'll always be great, but they still won't be the same without the little, Stan Lee as Hugh Hefner, or
Is
Pathetic
there a
delivery guy.
is there a Tony Stank here?
yeah, or the him as the Watcher, telling the stories to the Watchers.
Yeah,
I
that was cool. I thought that was a great way to like immortalize like all the cameos and explain them.
yeah, it was so good, and he's just one of those. It's one of those things that it happened in so many movies that now you're like, something feels like it's missing, and then you remember, and you're like, oh,
No
I
Stank.
remember now. Okay, but yeah, 9.5 out of 10. I feel like Stan would have loved it personally.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, it's 12 out of 10 if I was like a standalone.
Oh, I 100%.
Just because it exceeded my expectations just because of how these female superhero movies have been.
Yeah.
I think it was really, really amazing. The only like the reason I would say like analyzing it from my like point of view, if I was like, take off my Black Widow bias, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 because we need a Natasha story. That's what she deserved. Like she's been in these Avengers movies for like what every single one of them. She's like one of the original 6.
I mean, she started in Iron
she
Man.
deserves it. Like there's Iron Man, Black Panther, Thor. Like all of them have really great standalone movies. Like some of them have 3 Thor, and she didn't get the standalone movie she deserved. Like I absolutely love Yelena, which is why it's kind of like 12 out of 10. But Natasha deserved way more. She got the shaft again, in my opinion. So
yeah, and it felt really like a passing of the torch kind of thing, which I don't mind. But if you're gonna do a passing of the torch,
that should be a sequel.
don't pass the torch after. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I mean,
Well, so
I'll definitely watch it again.
yeah, like I got it on Disney Plus. Like I planned on watching it again. I wanted to give it like some time and then, go back and see what I could see the next time. But going forward, what's everybody's like what are we all like most looking forward to seeing now that you're like your Loki is over, Widow's over, you've seen WandaVision, we've seen Falcon and Winter Soldier. Now we have like that next little grouping coming up with we have the Hawkeye show that I don't even know if it has a release date yet. It's just kind of like fall or like late 2021. We have Shang-Chi is coming out. We have the Eternals movie. And then I think Spider-Man left that's like on the slate for the rest of the year.
Yep. And What If is coming out.
Yeah, What If starts in a couple weeks.
Yeah, which I can't wait. I watched the trailer for that the other day, and it is still it hurts hearing Chadwick's voice.
Yeah.
Now, but I love
thing he did, right?
Yeah, like what I read was like he had like recorded those before he passed, and it just because of like the nature of having to like animation, like it's just taken this long to get everything animated to the point where it was ready to release.
I will say my favorite part of that trailer is a Ravager never travels alone, and then nothing's like, they're like, is that your catchphrase? Like, what are you doing? See, well, hearing him, I can't wait for that. But hearing Yondu, warms.
Yeah.
Because I watched Guardians 2 the other day too, and Yondu's death is still one always hits me the hardest. Because
literally going back and watching them, like I've seen both, like all the movies at least twice now. And I think that Yondu's death is the only one that hits just as hard the second time as it did the first time.
Yeah.
Because like Infinity War, like it doesn't, like the first time I watched it, like I was just in shambles, like watching like what is about to happen. But then like when you watch it the second time, it's just like, oh yeah, like that happened. Like it's so sad seeing like you see the little things and the the I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. Like that hurts, but like
But you
Yondu's
know,
death,
Because you know they come back.
yeah.
yeah, you know they
And
come
like
back. So it's not one of
Yondu's
those.
death, it hits so different every time.
Yeah, Yondu's death. I mean, that is one thing I love about the Guardians movies. They are so well made. Guardians
Mhm.
2, everything that happened in Guardians 2, the Gamora and Nebula scenes with them kind of finally reconciling,
Mhm.
um, Peter and his dad, and then Yondu. It's it's a lot, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like too depressing to not watch again, because there are a lot of movies
Yeah.
where you're watching it. I don't know. There's a lot of movies. If when things like Yondu's death and all the dynamics between Peter and his father happen, you kind of see like that's heavy stuff. But Marvel was able to do it so well to where it was heavy, but it was lighthearted enough. You're throwing in, Rocket saying some dumb shit. You're throwing in,
And the comedic relief.
yeah, yeah. You're throwing in.
The Mary Poppins y'all still.
Mhm.
What part gets me every time is when Mantis gets hit with that like shit person. Mantis, look out! That part's so funny. But I mean, I don't know. I love those movies. Hearing Michael Rooker as Yondu in the What If trailer, it sealed it for me. I wasn't 100% sure if I was really going to watch What If, because it's essentially the DC Elseworlds.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's Gotham by Gaslight, Batman Ninja, stuff like that. But hearing Michael Rooker and Chadwick Boseman, their voices back, is like, okay, I have to watch this. I can't not see Chadwick Boseman's last role or hear Yondu come back and say some smart ass stuff. I can't not do that.
Yeah. What
I was
about
really
you, Rachel? What's the thing that you're looking forward to the most?
I want to say Multiverse of Madness because I'm curious how much of House of M they'll actually do with Wanda, and if they're gonna start the mutant stuff like with the kids, and if she'll actually get rid of all mutants. Like I wonder what line they're gonna take with her. So I'm most excited for that.
I'm actually, I think, most excited about Shang-Chi. Like, like the trailer just, I wasn't initially like, yeah, like the first trailer even wasn't even that, like I was just like, oh yeah, it's gonna be the next like big movie coming out, and then that second trailer hit, and I am all for it.
Oh yeah,
Like
I'm all for
everything just visually looks stunning. There's a whole bunch of like comic lore that we're about to like see for the first time like ever on a non like comic book page version. Like I'm very excited for this. Like
Oh yeah,
the like seeing the like the actual like what they did for the rings, like they didn't just make them like gaudy jewelry, like they made them like those big bracelets. I thought that was great.
oh yeah.
Getting to see I want to see the rest of that little like cage match scene where it showed like Wong and what's it like? Was it Red Hulk? No, who? What's the? Yeah, Abomination and Wong like having a fight. Like, okay, I'm all here for that. So basically, that like seriously cements the that Hulk film. The second one is like MCU, like actual MCU
Well, I mean,
material.
what else sealed that whole movie was Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man in there.
Yeah, no, it doesn't matter. That still to me, it's the fact that like other parts from that movie actually have made a return. Because like sure, you can use it and like because they changed the actor for God's sakes. It's not even the same Hulk. Like so it just feels so out there. But then seeing a different character other than General Ross like make an appearance, great. Now like it means that it actually means something. I feel like I got to go back and watch it now.
Yeah, I will say that movie wasn't the best movie ever made. but I'm kind of glad to see it back because I do like Edward Norton,
Yeah.
not as Hulk, but I like him as an actor. I think Mark Ruffalo is a much better Hulk than he ever was.
Mm-hmm.
But Abomination was one of those where you always thought there was like, are they going to bring him? Are they going to bring any Hulk characters in other than just Banner?
Yeah, like
And,
that's literally what it was.
And now you get that, and I'm psyched for that. Like I said before, I can't wait to see Aquafina in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Aquafina she's just hilarious. I mean, Jumanji 2, pretty funny. I didn't really watch her Comedy Central show that much, mainly because I didn't have Comedy Central. But I mean, that trailer, it looks fun. We make a good team. You know, it's just it's kind of a cheery Marvel movie. You know what I mean? Because we've had so much dark Marvel these past like 2 or 3 years where it's post Endgame. You have all these characters are dealing with everything. You know, Spider-Man: Homecoming Far From Home. I'm sorry, was very depressing.
Yeah,
I mean,
so much trauma.
Yeah, but now you got a whole new character. You know, it's not like you're not going back and watching the greatest hits of Loki, which will make me cry every time. You get to see, okay, here's new blood, fresh meat, throw them out there.
The real Mandarin,
which I will say Black Widow kind of fell into the trope of Mandarin. With, you had the fake Mandarin, you had the fake Taskmaster. I noticed that the other day. But no, I mean, I can't wait for Shang-Chi either. It's going to be a happy Marvel movie. I'm having to rewatch all the old ones to get some joy in my life.
Yeah, the action scenes just look so good in that. Like I'm excited because it basically set up like one of the classic it seemed very what is it like? It seemed like it took a lot from like the old like Bruce Lee movies.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that because like that's something that we haven't seen in years. Like but it has that kind of feel to it from what I've seen, and I would love to see more of that, especially if it means like more like if you're doing it with like Abomination on top of it, and there's no telling what other characters make it. Like if it's some kind of like martial arts tournament set up, there's no telling what other characters show up.
Yeah, that is true. If Marvel's going to do something like that, like a Mortal Kombat, Abomination is a throwaway character. They're giving you.
Yeah, so like because it was set up like if you look in the background, you can see the Madripoor flag there. So it makes sense why like you had to have Falcon and Winter Soldier before to set up the whole setting of Madripoor. But now you have the ability to like maybe have some of these other like mutant characters like make their first appearance there, and I think that could be a cool way of doing it because this is coming out post timeline like rip, so you could easily say that this is happening in a different multiverse, and then if my theory is correct with like Multiverse of Madness, it's basically going to be like everything split and then everything gets fixed again, but it's not like the same one that we've been in. Like it's going to be little bits and pieces of like everything come together. So like you can have like you could use that and like pull it all in as part of it. Same with like the Netflix shows. You have like your like the Fox movies with those kind of mutants. You have even technically the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like and all terribleness that was. Like it technically makes everything
bad. I mean, it wasn't good, but
it was great for the first few seasons.
It took me a while to get used to their Ghost Rider because I'm used to Johnny Cage. I didn't really read any of the side books because I got out.
I'm gonna be honest. I know so little about that show. I didn't even know Ghost Rider was in it.
Did I say Johnny Cage? I meant Johnny Blaze. I mentioned Mortal Kombat. Now I got Mortal Kombat on the brain. But yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It really, it fell into they can't mention the Avengers. Just like there's a part in the first season of Daredevil where they mentioned the first Avengers movie, but due to the fact that they can't say, the Avengers, they called it the incident. And they kind of look like and Daredevil or Matt Murdock literally goes, so that's what we're going to call it? Like in the show.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had permission. They did mention and went along with the Avengers movies. It was only like the Netflix shows that couldn't.
Yeah. Because it was a because I know they mentioned it like the first couple of seasons. They mentioned things like they talked about like the Battle of New York. They talked about like
Yeah.
I know they have specifically said like Chitauri, and I know that they have said like Asgardian stuff in there, but it was more so like once they started doing stuff with like I know they had their like own version of the Darkhold in there. Like
Yeah.
when you start getting to the, it's like all right, now you're going a little too far, and it just we won't talk about it.
But yeah, like their version of Ghost Rider, who I mean, he is one version that was in the books. It wasn't a motorcycle; it was a car.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I saw little bits of it. I didn't really follow it because that's not the Ghost Rider I knew. That and Agents of Shield wasn't my favorite TV show ever made. But I mean, I mentioned Ghost Rider for a reason, and I can't remember why.
Nicolas Cage? Is that what you meant to say before?
Yeah, I think you got Johnny Blaze and Nicolas Cage, and when it said Mortal Kombat, and it came out Johnny Cage. That'd be funny.
Johnny Blaze is the name of Ghost Rider.
No, I know, but I'm saying Johnny Blaze plus Nicolas Cage makes Johnny Cage, which was
okay. Yeah, but no, I mean, I think they were talking about Nicolas Cage come back as Ghost Rider, and then someone said Norman Daryl from Walking Dead wants to be Ghost Rider, which, hey, I'm down for that.
That's interesting, yeah.
He voiced Punisher in some animated thing, and he actually did kind of good. Like, he made, like, they're saying, like, the event, they're like, you can't kill them. He's like, they'll live without their kneecaps or something like that.
Hey, but, do we know what Keanu Reeves is supposed to be in the MCU?
Is he an internal?
Is he?
I know
I could see him being in there.
Because, like, I know that he was supposed to be in something.
I remember they were talking about, look, if they put him as Namor, I'll be fine.
I wouldn't be mad at that, but like
Namor as a character, they kind of they favor each other. I can't remember who he was supposed to be though. I remember they mentioned it.
I mean, I think he would definitely make a good Ghost Rider if that's what they wanted to do.
I would need some convincing on that one.
You killed my dog. I'm gonna come for your soul now.
Okay, that was clever. That was good. Now, it would take a little bit of convincing for me to see Keanu Reeves as Ghost Rider. I'm not sure why, but he's one of those that Namor, I would love to see him as Namor. Personally, I mean, hell, I'd love to see Antonio Banderas as Kraven, but that's now Quicksilver's job, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that his character has like officially been announced. Like, I know that they have like wanted to get him in because I remember seeing these like yeah, well, like I've seen that like there's casting rumors like every time because I know that like Marvel wants him in the movies and I think he wants to be in the movies. It's just they haven't locked down a role because like when I look it up, like it has for Ghost Rider, Wolverine, I see a Moon Knight, I see Kraven the Hunter, like there's castings for him everywhere.
Everywhere.
But it like
that's kind of cool,
but
right?
the overwhelming
He's
theme
actually
is that,
Mobius and not Jared Leto.
but like the overwhelming theme is like he wants to be in it, they want him in it, they just don't have. So like I don't know when he was supposed to be in, but like
I heard rumor that he was going to be in the Eternals, but
yeah, like I feel like that was Screen Rant did one of like best characters he could play. Let's see what this is. Adam Warlock. I don't really see it. Namor is there. Like I could see, like if you're gonna put, like it's got to be like a legitimate person. We know it's not Moon Knight because we know who Moon Knight is.
Is it Oscar Isaacs?
Yeah.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, he's not going to be Mr. Fantastic. Ooh, Silver Surfer. That wouldn't be bad. Oh, he could be Galactus. Oh, that'd be wild. I still think
Galactus all along.
I still think like Namor or like Ghost Rider would fit really well with that. But
yeah,
I mean, like that's because like I know he was supposed to be in something coming up, but like they have never like actually announced what it is. So like if they haven't announced somebody as big as Keanu Reeves, maybe it's supposed to be like a surprise, and we'll find out when.
Yeah.
If he's in Eternals, we'll find out when that comes out.
Probably. I mean, I remember DC wanted him at one point, but he wanted to play Batman. I think it was right when either Bale or Affleck was cast, and they're like, "No, we kind of got this," and he's like, "Keanu out," and then just left.
There was another one that said that he could play Darth Revan, but I wouldn't be mad at that either. That's Star Wars, but like, because that's like, what is it, like old? Yeah, because that's like pre.
Yeah, that's the Old Republic.
Pre-Plagueis, right?
Yes, that is.
Yeah, because that's one of the one of the books that they made. Because this is like this is like the beginnings of the Jedi Council and all that era.
My battery is 2%, so I might cut out at any moment right now.
Okay.
Well, that's as good a time to do the outro as any.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. Like we said 1,000 times, great conversation. Love having you on as a guest. Any
quick final words you want to say while you're still here?
Go watch Black Widow and give it more money so we get a second one. That's done right with Budapest.
I would pay. I would pay for another one. It was great to have you on. So I guess we'll go ahead and do our little outro and be done.
Yeah.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. There's the Word. I am Josh.
I'm Jeff. You got to do it too.
Yeah. And thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and all that. And may the Force be with you.
And this is the way.